my name's Lexie, and welcome to we're on 18, Deaf Child Discord 18, and I want to talk about legal loopholes of inequity. And if you're in America, it is not hard to think of a bunch of those, particularly in business. When we talk about things like pay, when we talk about things like employment rate, when we talk about things like even how homes are appraised and evaluated according to who owns it. Why am I smiling when I say that? Sometimes like when you have the video in front of the camera in front of you, you start smiling when you're talking, and then you realize what you're talking about, and you're like, change your face. I've been drinking so much coffee too. I said change your face, not change your fishing. Anywho, okay, sorry. Back to topic here. When we start thinking about like maternity leave and paternity leave or lack of, we start talking about how are people treated in the workplace, and how are people treated by businesses even if they don't work there according to who they are. The legal loopholes of inequity are all financial. For the most part, legal loopholes are put in place to create the disparity. And so we think of the law as ethics or something to protect people, but the law doesn't protect all people. And I think when we consider the legal loopholes of inequity and how when we talk about our business policies and compliance to the laws, we need to consider, are we paying attention to the laws because we care about what our policies are doing to people, or we just looking at what we can do to be the bare minimum and then say, oh, well, the law said this is all I have to do. Because that's what it feels like. And I want to give a pretty good example of that. The reason that there had to be an update to the American with Disabilities Act between 1990 and 2008. Why was an update necessary, right? Well, in 1990, the goal was to basically say, okay, well, if you're disabled, we're going to make sure you have rights to services. But then what it became was people could decide with their definition of disability, oh, well, you're not disabled enough, you're functional, and then not accommodate you. And there had to be this update based on that. But what the update did was constrict the wording to where now if you can prove that you are disabled, have the evidence like confirmed, then you can get the accommodation. But a lot of people with disabilities don't have that privilege, and it still basically says, okay, well, if other people decide you're disabled enough, then we're gonna give you rights, and another thing it did was set parameters for when accommodations don't have to be met. For example, there's like criteria where if a business isn't big enough, they don't have to provide ASL interpreters to deaf people, because they can just claim they're too small of a business. But what I don't get about that stuff, I'm about to say shit, but fuck it, is it's a fucking tax write-off. So to me, if you can't afford to accommodate deaf people, you got some other business problems, going down. Like, that's just, and I'm not a tax accountant, So I know it's not like a complete, oh, you get all the money back. Like a tax write-off with deduction is different than getting the money back. But if you in business, you're gonna owe taxes anyway. Get that deduction, motherfucker. Anywho. That's my motherfucker. You can't stop me from signing, bitch. Anywho. Yeah. Fucking keep that in mind. Legal loopholes of inequity. Are you using them to do the bare minimum, or do you actually give a fuck? Because the law is not ethical. And thank you for your time today.